Now let's get into the blueprint. And today we're diving into something that is super crucial for the success of a personal brand, which is the power of focus. Now, who's going to illustrate this is actually somebody we've gone over a few times on the podcast. He's one of the most successful content creators of this time, which is MrBeast. We got a clip from the latest Colin Samir interview that he had with them. Shout out to them. We're going to react to the power of focus and how can we even apply it for ourselves.
3 things that my entire world revolves around. I work out every day, I work on main channel videos, and I work on Feastables. It's just those 3 things. Yeah. I wake up, I do that, and then when I'm done, I go to bed. And I just do that every day. For the amount of hours I've spent studying stuff is like something that's interesting is like, you know, they say it takes 10,000 hours to master something, right? Yeah. Obviously, everyone says that. And everyone's like proud when they're like, I put 10,000 hours into this thing. I'm going to put 10,000 days into this. Like literally, 10,000 days is like 30 years and I'm almost 15 years in.
These 3 things I don't think is just done by coincidence. Workout, his main channel, which is all his videos, and then Feastables. We could break that down into these 3 categories. We got health, we got passion, and we have business. I believe 2 of the 3 fuels the main one, which is the passion.
One of the concepts that we spoke on once on the live show, I don't think we mentioned it on the podcast, but the Pareto Principle, that's something that I truly live and believe in, which is a concept that says 80% of the outputs come from 20% of the inputs. And so for most people, when you think about all of the things that you have, you think that they come from all the things that you do. And in reality, much of what you have or much of the results that you see in your business, your personal life, and your brand or any of those things, they only come from just a select few activities that we take part in. And so this is a great way for us to take inventory. But the thing that I do want to also add here is life-work balance, harmony, work-life balance. Some people flip it around because, you know, they want life to come first or others want work to come first. This just really shows how much of a personalized definition that is. You know, some people, they get so much fuel and energy from the thing that they do, and they also are able to monetize and make money from it, that they don't need to do much other than just those things, right? Like for others of you listening who you might have said like, well, this guy has no life. I mean, he clearly does nothing but those 3 things and he wakes up and goes to sleep. Like there's no color in what he explained, but just know it's a very personal definition. And I think that's why a lot of us we can't put our finger on it. You know, like some people say, oh, it has to be this and you have to do that. But no, it really is a personal definition of what it is for you. You know, some people are happier working more, others need to work a little bit less and do other exploration, and that exploration stimulates or creates creativity and they dump that creativity back into their brand or their business. So it's very, very personal, subjective definition is what I will say as it relates to what he talked about there.
I love what I do. Nicky, you're really jumping into like truly a full-time content creator. Like between your brand, between the podcast, you know, it's going all around content. And I'm like, okay, cool. I love what I do. It's nothing crazy. I don't need a break from it, you know. But when I listen to this, once again, I look at the 3 things that he's focusing on and how 2 of them is fueling the passion, right? One is providing the funds, which is Feastable. He created Feastables, not just because he loves food, but because he needed ways to fund the situation, which is all his videos, right? His videos like cost millions to make. He did one just recently, $1 versus like $1 million yacht, right? And it's made over 130 million views. It was ranked the second most YouTube viewed in like 24 hours. So with that takes a team, that takes, equipment, the actual yacht. He had Tom Brady in there. He had Pete Davidson in there. Now, I'm assuming it was, I don't know. I don't want to assume if it was free or paid, whatever. But he had amazing people in there. That cost a lot of money. And though he was asked, like, yo, couldn't you not do a video for so much? It's like, yeah, I could. But why? I want to. He's known for giving away a lot of money. I want to continue to give away money. I want to continue to have creative freedom. So, boom, I understand the importance of money. I don't move off of money, but I understand the importance of money. And so hence why we have Feastables and some of the other ventures. Now, when it comes to the workout, even though in the actual interview, he said that he started working out because he did a bet. But we all know that when our health is good, we're able to have the stamina that we need to continue with our passion, which for him is to continue to make all these different videos. Now, I believe he's doing like 2 videos a month, but if you've ever watched any of his videos, it takes like a month of planning, weeks of recording and editing and that whole 9. So it takes energy to not only think of all these different ideas, but to actually do them as well. So everything goes back to the main thing. It makes me think of like, is all the things that I'm focusing on, is it fueling the main thing, or am I scattered? And so I look at that in this season that I've narrowed it down to my 3, which is Nicky and Moose, Deeper Than the Brand, and My Mental, right? And everything that has to deal with that. But even when thinking about that still has all these little tasks here and there that can still seem very overwhelming. I mean, your own business is overwhelming. Having a consistent podcast can seem overwhelming because of all the things that are going about it. So even watching this makes me think, okay, how can I narrow it down even more of my focus? Because if I can break big situations into smaller things and focus on the small joints, then everything else will fall in line. But am I, even though I was having 5, 6, 7 things that I was focusing on, because multitaskers always go like, I could do it all. Shout out to my multitaskers. But even though I narrowed it down to my 3, do I have to narrow it down even more?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like we can think about like the whole niche situation, but am I still thinking a little bit too much? That's why for me, I'm kind of like, how does one thing like feed into the other things?
Yeah,
that's how I'm kind of thinking.
I really like. Yeah, and I really like what you said. I think it was on our archive episode, but you were saying that focusing on certain segments of the major concept in a particular season. Like I think that is really good too, because you're right. It's really difficult to balance all 3 or just have just 3. I can't tell you what are my 3 right now. I know usually once Ramadan comes around, the last 2 years I've gotten really sick in the start of the month of Ramadan. This year we had a baby 2 or 3 weeks before the month of Ramadan. So it's like the last couple of years have been really interesting. And so I've just narrowed at least 3 things that I know if I keep in that order, I will do fine. And that number one is my faith. Number two is my health. And the third one is a two-way tie between family and work, or like my career. And so I know if I can do them in that order, I usually end up being in a good enough space to do everything else. But I couldn't tell you like, okay, from a business standpoint, what are those three? So I think my takeaway from it is, of course, get more focused, have more clarity around what ways or what areas you're focused in on, but what are the subcategories of the business, of the brand, are you focused on this month, this quarter, this year, that you can really carry out? You know, I like that strategy, Nick. So I think that's dope.
Yay. Like that.